Some things just get better with the right partner. Peanut butter and jelly. iPhones with literally any other Apple product. And of course, Notion is no exception here. Now there are a ton of potential upgrades for Notion out there. But if I had to pick only one, it would be this. Hands down my favorite upgrade for Notion, Tally. What's Tally, you're asking? Tally is the best form builder you can get in 2024. It has a super easy UI, integrates natively with Notion, and their free plan is absolutely unbeatable. Now, I have of course to justify this bold statement that Tally is the single best upgrade for Notion. So, in this video, let's take a closer look at Tally and 7 amazing use cases to seriously level up your Notion game. Even if you don't think you need a form builder, I bet you by the end of the video you'll change your mind. But before we start, 2 quick disclaimers. First, yes, Notion has just announced that they're working on their own native form feature for later this year. So, why bother with Tally now? Based on other Notion releases like Notion Sites, Automations, or Notion Charts, it's likely that Notion Forms will launch with a solid set of base functions, but for more advanced workflows and use cases, you will still need a proper and dedicated form builder. Tally also comes with a lot of inbuilt native integrations, so no matter where your data needs to end up, even if it's outside of Notion, you'll probably have an easy way to do so with Tally. Plus, it might still take a while until Notion Forms release, and you can start using Tally for free today, so why not? Second, this video is sponsored by Tally, but everything in this video is my own opinion, and I honestly love Tally, which you can probably tell by my excitement about this. I've been using Tally for years, both personally and on a ton of client projects. So yeah, I anyway recommend Tally to everyone, so I'm beyond thrilled that they reached out to partner with me. Alright, enough disclaimers, let's dive right in. First up, using Tally as a contact form on your Notion site. This is pretty much a no-brainer and particularly great if you use Notion sites to publish any type of personal or company site where you just need to get something up and running quickly. So this is one of the layouts, right? It's part of my, Notion sites templates. And on here, I just have, the About Me section, what I do, and then the contact section. And currently, we only have 2 options to contact me, like send me an email or connect in LinkedIn. But of course, it would be much nicer if we had a form here where someone could just, drop me a line to reach out to me. So let's build that. To do so, we're going to head over to Tally, and once we're logged in, we can just click on New Form. And this pulls up a form builder that works very similar to Notion. So let's say here, this is our contact form, so let's get in touch, ! All right. And then in the body of the page, I even have the familiar / commands. So I can just say, okay, /, what do I want? Well, I want first maybe a question with a short answer. So let's say, what's your name? ? And then below that, I can also drag these blocks, right, to rearrange them. Just let's get a few spaces here. Alternatively, click the plus icon, but let's keep going with / commands. So what's your name? Then I want to get the email. So what's your email? And then last but not least, maybe a long answer. Why are you reaching out to me? All right, let's keep it that simple for now and just click on publish. After we publish our form, we'll get redirected here to these share settings, and I can now just copy the link from my Tally form, go back and embed it in my Notion page. So let's choose the embed option, and here it is, my Tally form natively embedded in Notion. And I can of course resize it, but by default, it already comes out of the box pretty much perfect. Now let's connect this to Notion. So in a new Notion page, we're going to create a new database, and we'll call this our form submissions. We already have a field for a name, and then let's match the other one. So we remove the tag property and instead add an email property, and then just a text property for the comment. Perfect. That's it. We can delete these, and now we can go to Tally to connect our form to this database. In Tally, you want to go to the Integrations tab, and here you see all the native integrations, and you see there are a ton of them, right? You can send it to Sheets, to Slack, you can do a custom webhook, and you can also add it directly to Notion. So we pick the connect option here, and the second we do that, we get redirected to our connection setup. Now, I already have a Notion account connected. If this is the first time that you use Tally with Notion, you will have to go once through the authorization steps, but they're super straightforward, so you can just follow along. If you have it already connected, then you need to make sure that your database is actually synced or shared with Tally. I haven't done that yet, so I will go back to my page. I will click on the 3 dots here, and then if I scroll down to the very bottom under Connects to, I will pick here now Tally as an option, and then it will get access to this page. And then I can refresh this, and in a moment, we should be able to refresh this here as well to see the option to connect here. As you can see, I have a ton of databases shared, but we need form submissions. And once we do that, we can then, as with all these no-code automations, map our properties. So I can say, okay, which tally field should be mapped to Notion? Well, we want the name. So what's your name? That should be mapped to the name property in Notion. And then I want to map what's your email to the email property. And you see, based on my property types, right, it already suggests the correct properties in Notion. And then why are you reaching out to me? That will be the comment. I could also add the comment as the page content if I wanted to, but I want to actually have it on database level so I can see it at a glance. And then I can just click connect with Notion and we are all set up and good to go. Now, if we look on the form on my live Notion site, we notice an issue because I set my Notion site to be always in dark mode, but the form currently is in light mode. Of course, that doesn't look too great. Luckily, we can quickly fix that. If we just go back to our form and then to the edit settings, we can here under design change this to dark mode. And we can also change other things, right, like the font, and if we have the Pro plan, also CSS, but this is perfectly fine, and it matches Notion's aesthetic perfectly. So once I click on Publish, and then head back here and refresh this once, we'll see that now it looks as if it's a part of my Notion page, right? You can't really tell that this is a third-party integration. And now we can go in here and say, okay, what's my name? My name is Matthias, and hello at matthias.de, and I love your content. Let's have a coffee in Berlin. Amazing. Click on submit, and in a few seconds, it will pop up in our Notion database. Let's just check it out quickly. Here it is, our form submission together with the comment immediately there in Notion. Perfect. Now, before we move on to the next use case, there's just one last thing I want to show you at this point, and that is pages and tally. So you can, of course, customize the thank you page here, right? So in order to do that, we just go in here and say slash thank you. And now we can write pretty much anything, right? So thanks a lot for reaching out. I'll be in touch shortly. And you have access to a ton of rich block formatting as well, right? So you could add images, GIFs, embeds, pretty much anything in here as well. That's option one, but we can also break down our forms in different pages, right? Particularly great if we want to not show them, all the questions at once, but like guide them through like themed sections or so. And again, super simple, we just type page where we want to do that, and it's a new page break. We can say, add more context to it, like what the page is about if we wanted to group these. But if we just want to split this up a little bit, we just add our pages here, and then we again publish. Let's just switch back to dark mode. I'm just switching to light mode for editing because it's a bit easier to see on the screen. And now let's refresh our page here and see how that looks like. So now this time we have the shorter form, right? So this time it's, me, myself, and I who are reaching out. My email is still hello@matthias.de, and then another good reason for reaching out, and then we'll submit it. And here we have now our custom thank you page, and if we go back to Notion, we have our second entry here as well. To build your own first form in less than 2 minutes, just check out the link in the description. Number 2, data validation for teams. This is perfect for a team environment, because oftentimes, in particular with larger teams, you want to make sure that the way someone enters information in a database is exactly the right way. And you know that with the Notion UI, it can sometimes be a bit tough to tell them exactly, okay, this property, please put this, and here, please put that. But with forms, you can build a very, very good UI on top of that. So you can still use your large global database in the background while making sure that data entry works the right way. So let's just take it as an example here, our engineering home, and we want to add to this landing page for the engineering team an easy way for people to submit a ticket. And in Tally, we can, of course, do that. So here I already structured the rough thing. We say, okay, what is the ticket about? We have one of 3 options. And then based on which option they pick, we want a different set of questions to show. And we can do that with logic blocks in Tally. Again, it's super straightforward. You can simply go anywhere on the page and just type slash logic, conditional logic. And now you get this hidden logic block where you can say, okay, if something, then this. Now, what you want to do is you want to make sure that based on if it's a bug report, then these 3 show, and otherwise for new feature, we show desired outcome, and for help, we show how can I help you. In order to make this work, first we need to select everything, and then hide the ones that hide everything, right? Because by default, nothing should be visible unless we say, well, okay, show it. All right. So now we have everything hidden, and now we can say, so when, what is the ticket about? So we'll go in here and change our dropdown to the question that determines everything. Well, what is the ticket about? Is bug report, then show blocks. Please show the please upload a screenshot of the thing with the file upload, the exact behavior, and the actual behavior. And you see, by default, Tally will automatically take the heading block and the actual answer block together when I check them, so they always stay together. Perfect. So that's step 1. Now we, of course, need more conditional logic. So we actually just going to duplicate this block 2 more times. So we say if it is a new feature, then please don't show these and instead show the desired outcome. And in case it is the I need help, then instead of showing these, please show my how can I help you option. Perfect. So now we can publish this and then look at it again on the front end. So here's my form, and we see by default we only have these 3 options, but now as I cycle through them, we get the corresponding blocks for our options. And of course, we have too many spaces here, right? I need to delete them from our form. So just go into edit and make sure like all these empty lines are gone, because they otherwise stack up and create a lot of white space that we don't need. But once we've done that, oops, perfect. Let's publish again. Once we've done that, everything will look properly. So go back to bug report, perfect, new feature, I need help. And again, right, we could then in the next step now link this on our Notion page and then map these entries to our ticket tracker in Notion. Could even set up like an additional automation to maybe ping someone based on like what was selected, or we could add to it that they can pick what department did it, or which person submitted something. Endless opportunities, but a really, really powerful use case if you work in a larger team environment. Number 3, automate your reporting. This one is probably my favorite because it can save you so much time. Now, this is an actual workflow that I implemented like this for a client. The client is a marketing agency and they run influencer campaigns. And after the campaigns, they get screenshots from the influencers that detail, how the video performed. Now, in the past, it was a ton of effort because they had to manually input the data from that screenshot into Excel, and then again from Excel, into a presentation to present it later. But now it's completely automated. And the way it works is that we use Tally, and we get a unique link for every influencer in the campaign. And then we use a form where they can upload the screenshots. And then after that, AI Vision extracts all the numbers and adds it to a Notion database. So this is just a rough workflow, right? We automatically create reporting entries. We create this a reporting link. And from there, we can then extract the data, and everything, right, is powered and held together by this Tally form. Now, this is a fairly advanced workflow, and you need a really robust form builder in order to build this workflow. And one thing that I was really, really surprised by is that you can build this on the free plan in Tally. I have not found a single other form builder that adds this complex functionality in their free plan. It's absolutely insane. For one, you can, just upload files, and there's in general a limit to 5 MB per screenshot, but other than that, there's no limit. You can upload as many files, collect them through your forms. So that's already great. But then the real secret sauce for this automation to work is something which is called a hidden field. In your forms, you can add hidden fields that get automatically pre-filled through something that is a UTM parameter. A UTM parameter, in case you don't know, is something that is appended to a URL. So you might have seen these when you copy a URL and they have, reddit.com, and then there's, something. And then after a while, you have this question mark, and then there's a bunch of things after the question mark. These things after the question mark are ignored by your browser, right? It's not really part of the URL, but pages can take the values in there and input them. So what we can do in this form is we can, when we generate our unique links for our different influencers, we can add, their name and their email in there, so that when we have one link, we can personalize it automatically, and then when they open it, they are greeted by the name, and the email is already filled out, so they don't need to fill it out themselves anymore, which makes it a lot more likely that the data ends up in the right place. That can seem a bit complicated, so let me just show you what I mean. We go here, and in our form in Tally, we will add a hidden field. And what it asks us now is, okay, what's the name of the parameter? And we want to have 2 things. We want to have the name, and we want to have a second hidden field for the email. Now, not only can we collect these, but we can also now personalize the form with that. So you see here, hey, please add your reporting snapshots below. Let's make this a delightful experience and actually automatically pull in the name of the user there. Perfect. So we're going to save this, and then we're going to look at how this affects it on the front end. So here's the URL, right? And now we're going to add the UTM parameter to it. And I'm showing you in a second how to do this automatically, so you don't need to do it manually, but just so you understand it now. We add the question mark, and we say name is equal to Matthias, and then we want the email to be equal to hello hello@matthiasfrank.de. Now we enter. And when I open this, you see, hey Matthias, please add your reporting snapshots below. So I can now add the data here, and I actually need to grab a file, 1 second. Perfect. Just add a nice selfie of me with one of my favorite coffee shops in Berlin. And then as a video URL, I'm just going to add my YouTube channel for them. And then I will press submit. Now we have all the rest of our form that we can customize. But if we check it out now in our submissions, you'll see one cool thing. Under submissions, we have now here, well, of course, the email, the video URL, but we see that it was from Matthias and this was his email. And we can use these things to do a whole bunch of mapping and, automatic data connection in our Notion database. Now, as promised, I'll show you now also how to get this automatically, right, at scale if you have a ton of influencers, for example, that you need to send these links to. For that, we of course want to have a database in Notion, right? It was also one of the first things we set up with the client so that they have a proper database infrastructure. So we have our influencers here and we have currently the name and the email and whatever other information we want to track about it. And then in order to create the link, we just add a formula property. And what we're going to do is, okay, please, in this link property, give me the tally form, right, which is this link, and then append something to it. So we say plus, question mark, and name equal, right, that's our first parameter. We want to add the name to this. And after this, we want to add the, an ampersand and email equal, close this off again, add another plus, and add the email. And now if we close this, we see that automatically for every person, we get this unique link that includes everything for our parameters. And we can just copy this, right, and send it to the person. Or even better, set up an automation that whenever we add, a new influencer to a new campaign, they automatically get an onboarding email where it says, okay, here's the campaign data. Once you're done with your video, please click this link, open the tally form, and just add your reporting. Super smooth experience, both for the influencer and your team. And of course, this isn't limited to marketing agencies with influencer reporting. You can use this trick with the UTM parameters in any situation where you need to send out personalized forms, either if it's something small, right, where you just want to add some delightful experience with their name or maybe some of their interests, or you want to go a bit deeper and make sure that there's automatic data entry. For example, another great use case is when it comes to customer support for feedbacks. And I'll have one more use case in a second that will also use these UTM parameters for just added protection against wrong data entry. Number 4, supercharge your newsletter. For this, let's look at my own personal workflow. This is the welcome survey that I send to everyone who joins my email newsletter list. At least it's the old version of it. And you see, it has more than 30,000 submissions. Absolutely insane. Now, what I want to know is when someone joined my list, what are they doing, right? Are they a student? Are they an entrepreneur? And most importantly, what is their Notion level? Because that way I could then send them more targeted content that is a lot more relevant to them, right? So if you're a student and a beginner, you maybe shouldn't get a most complex, power user tutorial right off the gate. There are tools out there, right, that let you do the segmentation and surveying out of the box. But they're usually really, really expensive, and it's ridiculously simple to build this with Tally. All you need to do is, again, a form where you say, okay, what are my questions that I want to ask them? And then as you can see, we have a hidden UTM parameter, the email. So that means whenever someone signs up, I just forward them to this Tally page with the email that they use to sign up as the UTM parameter, and then they see this form. And they don't need to input anything, right? They can just say, okay, I'm a student and this is my Notion level. And then this automatically gets added as an entry first to Tally. And then I use an automation with Make, in this case, to add it directly from Tally to my email newsletter. This is the automation. So I have an in-between step where first Tally sends the data to Notion. And then I query the Notion database and I look up the subscriber and ConvertKit. Right, this runs once a day, so in case they unsubscribed already or something went wrong, we just create an issue. But other than that, we go into ConvertKit and we update the subscriber in ConvertKit with the information that they input, and then we delete the Notion entry, and then if necessary, we also add a specific tag to subscriber. And that's a super smooth experience again for both sides involved. For me, it's completely automated. I don't have to do anything. And a subscriber sees a form that is personalized. They don't need to add any additional data, right? If you would ask them, okay, please add your email so that I can update it, that would be horrible. And afterwards, they get more relevant content. So also, in case you're not subscribed to my newsletter yet, link in the description. Let's join 28,000 other Notion fans. It's a lot of fun there, and you'll learn a lot more of these kind of things on there. Number 5, build your own NFC business cards. This one is perfect if you're heading to a conference or event, maybe even a local Notion community meetup, and want to connect with a lot of people without having to hand them, paper business cards. All you need are some NFC tags, and you can get them for like $5 or so on Amazon. And then you need an app. It's free. There are a bunch of them. I'll link them down below in the description that you can use to write something on this NFC tag. And then you can add the URL of your tally form in it, which then means when someone taps it with their phone, they automatically get forwarded to your tally page. Now, of course, you could also build this in Notion sites and then just embed a tally form. But just as an example, you can also build everything directly in here. And you can see, I just have my image here. We have this 2-column layout. You can find me on LinkedIn and YouTube, and then you can add the information. Now, added to that, right, all the previous things we already did, we can then send it automatically to Notion. If we want, we can further tag them as something specific. For example, we could have a hidden field here that tells us, okay, what event was that, right? And then if we go to a ton of them, we can always then say, okay, please, I need a UTM parameter for the specific event. We can use one in the same form. And we have our big personal CRM that we can build out slowly over time through this very nice and little Notion integration. Number 6, build a hiring pipeline. Now, this is a use case I come across a lot. Many startups have started to have their job openings in the Notion database because it's just so easy to share and then add it to your own pipeline. And in this example, we can use our already previous existing features to build this really interactive hiring pipeline. So here we have a database, right? We have information like salary, remote, start date. And as before, we create our dynamic link for it. And then we have this time this apply now button. So if someone then actually, opens this, which might be embedded on our website, we see our job description. And then down here, we get this apply now link. And when we click to that, thanks to all our fields, we get, the role description, Notion Mac Designer, we have the salary, remote, the start date, right? We could format this a bit nicer so that it looks better here, but you get the gist. And then if someone applies to it, we could then again on our, application side, make sure that we map the type of role, and we could use another automation if we wanted to automatically, connect the applications to the specific open role. And in that way, create one whole workflow, start to finish, all with automated data entry. And number 7, build a quiz for lead generation. So this is a really fun use case where we combine Tally's forms together with conditional logic and calculations to create a quiz. And this interactive quiz can be used for lead generation, but you could also do it to, just for fun, or in order to help people assess, their skills, pretty much any situation, right, where you have multiple choices and you want to show them a specific result based on what they input. So in this situation, right, it's a Notion personality test, super simple. And let's say we choose always our A's as questions, and the way this works, right, is pretty much the same the old school magazine ones work, when you had to count like how many of these you got, just that here it happens automatically. We click on submit and it says, oh, looks like you're the architect. Okay, I messed up with the merge text, but you get the idea. So how does this work? Well, in Tally, you just want to set up your multiple choice questions the same way you set it up for any of the other forms. And then at the bottom of it or wherever you want, you need to add a bit of logic to it. So we need 2 things. We need 2 calculation fields. Let me just move this here so it's a bit easier to see. And you can get a calculation field by simply typing /calc. And then you get this calculation field. And this we can use to basically assign a variable. So we will say, okay, our score is initially 0 and our result is text and it's initially nothing. And then we add again our conditional logic blocks. And then we say, okay, based on what they answer for every question, we add a different number to our 0 field. And I set it only up here for the first question, but you would just repeat this now for every single question you want to go through. And of course, you can mix it up, right? If you don't want to have it always as the A option, you can easily customize it there. And then the only other thing we need to do is at the very end, we need to calculate now the result field based on the score. So we need to say, okay, if the score is between, 1 and 7, then you're, the one for type A. If you're in between something else, you're type B. And if you're above something, you're type C. And of course, right, we need to remove the so that it looks properly in the merge text. And then last but not least, on the result page, we can then again reference our result field. And of course, we would probably, design this a bit nicer with headings and so on and so on. But you get the gist from this in order to build your own personal quiz. So there you have it. 7 arguments why Tally is the single best upgrade for Notion. Would you agree? Let me know in the comments whether I won my bet. And if you want to learn more about ways to automatically add data to Notion without having to type it in, well, I've got you covered. Seriously, automated data entry rocks. Just click here and I will see you in a second.